All right, guys, here we go. Um, I wanted to start out with Jim Fetzer, who's been doing a really good job, especially talking about. Um, oh no, I keep misplacing my reading glasses, and it's driving me crazy. He's been talking quite a bit. Well, he is like the king of conspiracy and critical thinking. Conspiracy, uh, so they call it. Breaking down false flags and more. I mean, okay. So, and I've been listening to him for a long time, and I actually mirrored some of his real old YouTube stuff quite a while ago during Trump's first term. He had a lot of good information about the Seth Rich murder that involved Hillary Clinton. I forgot who was running. Um, hmm. Well, Debbie Wasserman Schultz was down there, a congressman woman from Florida. Um, uh, Boy, I can't remember who was running the DNC back then, or the Democratic Party. Okay, and okay, I obviously don't have my thoughts together because I'm just kind of putting this together on the fly. So I mirrored a couple videos concerning his murder, and it really um, hit me home because I knew the procedure that they did on him, but apparently, well, I don't. Am I allowed to say this? They left him to die in a hospital bed. They were instructed not to check on him. That was unusual back then, but now it's par for the course. Just let this one go. The residents had spoken up about it. It was a problem. And so that was one of the first videos that I mirrored way, 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 way back then when I was still using my phone to make videos. All right. And so, let's fast forward. He's done a good job, or, trying to get people to listen concerning this Kirk thing. And I'm going in a couple different directions right now. Or, okay, the main issue that we need to be aware of right now is controlled opposition, people that are in the controlled opposition network, shall we say. And for some reason, I listen to a lot of different stuff as the day is going by, and I can always tell. It's almost like mainstream media. I can always tell what, like, now anyway, it's coming really clear to me at this point, like big time. People who are the new media has been infiltrated. I'm going to expand on that. I had a theory when Tucker Carlson was, quote, fired, end quote, from Fox News. I never liked Tucker. I didn't know as much about him as I know now. But his cute little aw shucks shack in the woods type of thing, where he's got a few antiques in there from out east. I've got a lot of stuff like that too. It is quite cool. I get that. I think my stuff is going to be always cooler than his, because his is probably just fake, like he is. But I was listening to a podcast talking about this, and he always brought it so far and then pulled back. I'll give you an example. The Hunter Biden laptop. In 2020, he went on his show and announced to the world that he had made the decision not to talk about it because Hunter was a friend and he was a lost soul and was going through a traumatic time. Okay, so he allowed Biden to take that election and he knew exactly what he was doing. Somehow, Trump puts him in his inner circle. The same person that funded Carlson was all over the place. His daddy was getting him gigs, okay? He was a dork. He wore a bow tie. I never liked him from the get-go. Okay. So I watched maybe 10 of his shows only because I was with a family member that we needed something to put on TV because this person had to have the TV on all the time. All right. And so I got to know him that way. Even though he fucked up the 2020 election, I forgot where I was going with this, but I'll keep talking. So I know I'm backtracking. So in a way, he knew that he could be very powerful in getting the facts out there, but he chose not to. Then I find out later that Tucker Carlson, asked Hunter Biden when Joe Biden was vice president during Obama to write a letter of recommendation for his son. Some stupid name, Bailey or Hunter, I don't know, Sidley or something, I don't know, some weird dumb hick name, just like Tucker and fucker, yeah, his brother's name, he named the kid after his brother, and then he has 4 daughters. Okay. He asked Hunter to write a college letter of recommendation for his son. Now, given the fact that, for a college entry, given the fact that Tucker's father was in the government for a really super ass long time, given the fact that Tucker was in Nicaragua working on a government overthrow, made not 1 trip but 2 because he thought it was a good cause. He had many articles with text messages of him, which now I don't even know if I believe or not, but let's just say they're true, saying how much he hated Trump. Oh, but he turned around. He's okay. Not really. That's okay. Not for me. Government operative. He took money after he had all these failed TV shows before his Fox News show. And he created, I guess, it was probably somebody else, news internet site called The Daily Caller. It's now owned by someone else. It's not the Daily Wire, that's Shapiro. It's the Daily Caller. Okay. Then he went on to work for Fox News, I believe, shortly after that. He sold it, but the seed money to start that site, even though he had plenty of money, I don't understand a lot of this shit, came from a man named Foster Friess, who also gave seed money at age 18 to a one Charlie Kirk. So when he was fired from Fox News, I said to myself, and I thought about it for about a week, and then he started this thing on X, Twitter, and he started getting, his Putin interview got he would start getting high viewer numbers on Twitter, but as it turned out, it was, even if you just scrolled down and clicked on it, that was being counted as a view. Something like that. I thought, well, this is bullshit. So I blocked the guy. I don't ever want to see him online ever unless I choose to watch something, which the only thing I chose to watch was the Ted Cruz interview, which was insane. And I watched the Putin interview, but not through his site. I refuse to watch the guy. He makes me physically ill because he reeks of deep state op, you know. So you have something called controlled opposition. And I'm noticing now, and I was writing a comment to another site. This was a couple of years ago. I said, it's my theory that he maybe did not quit, but now he will become even more popular because what he is doing is he is moving from the television format, the Fox News format, the mainstream media, because Fox News is mainstream media. We all know that, but he's taking all of his CIA bullshit experience and his daddy State Department experience and his government overthrow, color revolution experience, and now he's going to go to the internet. And I said at the time that he started this, I said he will be bigger than ever. He is just shifting to a new demographic where he will get more viewers. And boy, wasn't I right. There he is standing on the stage like some sort of a drunk clown sticking his tongue out, blah, doing all kinds of weird crap during the, quote, memorial, end quote. Then you see people like Candace Owens, who, okay, so you hear so much about her, and then you hear that she gets fired from Ben Shapiro's thing. And I had never watched her prior to that. I'd seen her. People knew who she was. Oh, she was with Kanye West. Okay, that was big. I think she was pregnant then or just had given birth. We're going back several years now. And okay, so we've got that. Okay. Then she starts a YouTube channel and a channel Rumble and all that shit. Okay. And she gains more popularity by doing that. Are we seeing the pattern here? Than what she had on the Daily Wire. She had done some movie. She puts a lot of her stuff under a paywall. She is behind a paywall. She is the wife of someone who has a daddy who is in the British House of Lords. I've read quite a bit on this guy. I think his name is Farmer something or another. I've read his writings. They are not for me. His articles criticizing her because he thinks she's anti-Zionist. See how that all works? So you have your MI6 connection there. You've got your State Department connections. She is complete counterintelligence. We're going to find out more about that in a second. Jim had been promoting her quite a bit on his show, and I heard the tail end of this, but the beginning of the show, the first 5 minutes and 47 seconds got cut off. So I'm going to try to see if I can catch it on BitChute to see if there's anything to add. So let's start here.
To begin, obviously, we have a lot to unpack before I go on vacation. I'm looking forward to reading. I'm also looking...
Honey, you're not going to be reading. And by the way, people say Candace converted to Catholicism. She did not. I did quite a bit of digging on that last night. She got baptized. Now, in Catholic apologetics, if it's an emergency, I can baptize someone at their deathbed. I've got holy water all over the place here. Don't hate me because I'm Catholic. I notice that is really coming at me right now, too. But then they put people like her up and say she was never confirmed. And I double and triple check that. If you're an adult, she's got 3 kids. Your obligation is to raise those children Catholic, right? Which it would be sort of the same as if you're any faith. You know, you're going to want to keep the kids in the same religious. And if they decide to go away, then that's their thing. And then you just pray that they come back. That is what Catholics do. We don't sit there and try to preach and grab people, you know, well, it was different for me. For me, it was like you'd hear a knock on the door, you'd be out at the bar because the drinking age was 18. I was, or I was out working and then I'd be out doing stuff probably I should not have been doing, i.e., possibly smoking weed, possibly drinking beer, but not more than 2 or 3. I mean, no way. But I would stay out late because I didn't get off of work till like 10 o'clock at night. And you'd hear a knock at the door, get your ass out of bed and get to church. Sometimes I would go, or most of the time I did, but on the times I did not, I would get iced out for an entire week. You didn't go to church, I'm not talking to you. That's how I was raised, which is extreme. But I was still a kid, and after that it was just sort of like, whatever with her. And then it was just like, get your ass out of the house. We don't, you're old enough to leave and be on your own. It's time. And that was pretty much the day I graduated from high school. When are you leaving? Okay. Getting back to Candace. She is not confirmed. And to my knowledge, I never hear her. I mean, she needs to take her crucifix down. It is blasphemous. It's duper's delight. Along with the other day, she was really heavily duper's delighting it with her CIA t-shirt. And I mean, this chick is socking it to you. She's not a Catholic, but she's intel for sure. And just to kind of dig down on it and say, fuck you people, she's wearing her t-shirt. And she's going on vacation to luxuriate somewhere in Great Britain, probably with a servant. I don't believe anything she says. I don't like her. I don't want to listen to her. She is an extreme narcissist. She is the most narcissistic person I have ever watched. And there was another commentator who's a boomer, probably a few years older than me, and said that he can't listen to her because all she does is talk about me, I. Nick Fuentes is the same way. I believe he is also COINTEL. Okay, let's go and let's listen. And I apologize for interrupting.
Looking forward to processing a lot of the information that is coming.
This is what I'm saying. We don't care what you're doing on your vacation, girl. All she does is talk about herself. This is hard for me to listen to.
Me and researching more. The place that we should start on today's show is with, I first and foremost have to tell you right at the top, I can't tell you exactly who the information came from or which parties.
Of course you can't tell us, Candace, because it came from the effing intel services, the government. If you can't tell us where you're getting your information, you do not report it as news. You clarify that by saying this is hearsay. I could make up anything right now. I was just in New York. I made a friend who happened to be at that Hamptons party. I know all about it. There, I just did it. That's pretty much what she's doing. And by the way, I'm joking on my end. She is seriously deep state. Okay.
All right, you guys, where to begin? Obviously, we have a lot to unpack before I go on vacation. I'm looking forward to reading. I'm also looking forward to processing a lot of the information that is coming to me.
Yeah, you'll be processing all right. You're going to get a training course.
And researching more. The place that we should start on today's show is...
She's researching more, but she's not going to tell you where it's coming from.
With, well, I first and foremost have to tell you right at the top, I can't tell you exactly who the information came from or
all right. Fuck you.
Which parties were involved in giving me this information because I don't want to get anybody in trouble. I can say that I have positively verified.
And let me clarify that. I dislike her very strongly. I apologize. But this shit is getting to me. I don't hate anyone. I hate her show. I hate what she does. I'm sure she's a lovely person.
Something about the injury that Charlie sustained to his neck that I think is going to go a very long way in terms of helping those of us who have been sleuthing, those of us who want answers, those of us who...
This is hard for me. This is really hard for me. Honey, I'm sleuthing. I'm sleuthing out you fake, phony person.
We are dedicating our time to this because what we are being told by the authorities beggars belief. As John and Arena Mappin said, it just simply beggars belief. We also want to make sure that we are presenting evidence and debunking one another where we can so that all of us can collectively zero in.
Who is we? Tucker, Max Blumenthal, the entire Gray Zone staff, Ian Carroll, who fills in for her, by the way. We're getting to him.
In and build upon whatever facts we have in this decentralized investigation.
Now, how do we know these are facts? I'm going to tell you. That phony video I saw, that is a fact. What she's doing is she's spinning. You're on a hamster wheel. You need to get off. It didn't happen. She needs to be exposed for what she is. Maybe she should just take an extended vacation for like a couple of years so I just don't have to deal with her anymore.
This is about the injury, okay? So Andrew Kovats was, I can tell you, telling the truth in part when he wrote that very long tweet in which he tried to explain why there was no
Okay. So now we're taking tweets. It's actually an ex-post, Candace, but she's constantly trying to throw you off track. I have to go to a social media site. And this, I don't know who this Andrew Klovac, what does he run TPUSA and do the money shit? We'll find out.
Exit wound. Do you recall this? Long story short, okay, so Andrew Kovats want to make sure that we are presenting evidence, those of us who have been sleuthing, one another where we can, so that all of us can collectively zero in and build upon whatever.
Why has she been dubbed the chick to disseminate this information? Because she's a black chick and she's conservative and she looks good. And she has a huge platform. She spent the summer talking about someone by the name of Blake Lively and Bridget Macron's penis. Yeah, sure.
Facts we have in this.
Did she ever expose Michelle Obama's penis?
Decentralized investigation. This is about the injury, okay? So Andrew Kovats was, I can tell you, telling the truth in part when he wrote that very long tweet in which he tried to explain why there was no exit wound. Do you recall this? Long story short, he said, I'm going to read it. I want to address some of the things that the lack of an exit wound, about the lack of an exit wound with Charlie. I'm usually.
They are making shit up to frustrate people like me and whoever agrees with me, and to keep you spinning on that hamster wheel while Trump is doing all his crap in Gaza.
Usually not interested in delving into most of this kind of online chatter, and I apologize if this is somewhat graphic, but in this case, the fact that there wasn't an exit wound is probably another miracle, and I want people to know. I just spoke with the surgeon who worked on Charlie in the hospital. He said the bullet absolutely should have gone through, which is very normal for a high-powered, high-velocity round. I've seen wounds from this caliber many times, and they always just go through everything. This would have taken a moose or two down, an elk, etc., but it didn't go through. Charlie's body stopped it. I mentioned to his doctor that there were dozens of staff, students, and special guests standing directly behind Charlie on the other side of the tent, and he replied, it was an absolute miracle that someone else didn't get killed. His bone was so healthy and the density was so impressive.
I mean, this defies logic, but go on.
He's like the man of steel. It should have just gone through and through. It likely would have killed those standing behind him too. In the end, the coroner did find the bullet just beneath the skin. Even in death, Charlie managed to save the lives of those around him. Remarkable. Miraculous. Now, keep that up for just a second.
Yeah, miraculous bullshit.
His bone was so healthy and the density was so impressive that he's like the man of steel that we just went, something's not right. Something not right. A lot of stuff's not right. I just don't know why a surgeon would be saying something that actually only the medical examiner, somebody that specializes in forensics, could really contribute.
Well, I did my own research on the hospitals nearby that place. And people would say, well, they didn't take him to the right kind of hospital, blah, blah, blah. It's not a level 1 trauma center. I don't know. I would have to check that out. But I was not taken to a level 1 trauma center, even though I was dying. And the reason why is because I never would have made it all the way to a level 1. Which would have tacked another hour on. I was already in respiratory arrest.
Yes, a surgeon can tell you, or actually any person with common sense can tell you that your bone density is better when you're younger.
No, bone is porous, Candace. Is she serious? Bone is loaded with blood vessels, and you actually use bone. Excuse me. You create new blood, something like you always are losing and creating new bone cells. P.S. When you walk, when you're pounding, when you're micro-stressing your bones, when you're stressing your bone, when you walk, it helps to build your spine. That is, something you don't hear anymore. You don't just have, really strong bones because you're young. Well, he was 31, so he was actually kind of on the downturn, where his bone and cartilage and shit, it doesn't matter if you're super healthy or whatever. It's natural part of aging. I mean, he was, if he was like, oh my God, I can't. I was in the OR for 20 years doing ortho surgeries. I've been in cadaver labs. I know what happens when you cut into bone. I've done it. I hated having to do various things for doctors when in these labs. I absolutely hated it. I actually just would block out everything mentally while I was doing it. I hated smelling, cutting through and all that tissue and all that crap and the cauterization that would go on. I hated it. It smelled like a burning blood vessel, because it was. Don't present bullshit to me. Where are the doctors and nurses out there and surgery techs?
But this seemed a little bit too performative. Now, I can tell you the part that he is telling the truth about is that Charlie's neck indeed did stop the bullet without question.
What?
Okay, and this is going to dispel a lot of theories that are out there. And I'm telling you this 100%. Charlie Kirk was shot from the front, and the bullet did not exit. And at least a fragment of the bullet was recovered from his neck. And I'm
no. All you needed to do was run that neck, even if he was dead, underneath an X-ray, a C-arm, anything, and you would have seen any small bits of metal, no matter how big, how small. You know how thin a staple is? I mean, that'll show up. A little piece of a paper clip will show up. This is such a load of garbage. A bullet that big leaving fragments is going to show up on X-ray. You don't have to dig around the body to find the fragments. And by the way, that takes, boom, what? How long does it take to get an X-ray? You've got the X-ray check back there. They take the picture. It's done in a couple minutes, and there you go. Or you can just take a C-arm and a scope, and you can view everything while you're looking at the patient on the operating table. Do they think that there are not experienced people out here that know this shit? Oh.
I'm going to tell you exactly where it was recovered from. I have fact-checked this information from multiple sources.
You don't fact-check something from multiple sources. You have to give the sources. Was it the doctor, the surgeon, the head and neck surgeon, or the trauma surgeon? I've worked in trauma surgery. I've worked in abdominal patches for gunshot wounds to the abdomen. I know what I'm talking about.
Sources now. I've actually been sitting on this for a little bit over a week.
She's been sitting on this for a little over a week, but she's going on vacation and wants to let us know. It's just, where is the coroner's report? Where is the state of Oregon? This is a legal situation. Every state, oh my God, has laws on this. Where are the investigators to the crime? What is going on? And stop lying to me.
Right around here. So think about.
Look, this is just such rubbish. This is just such nonsense. I'm just incensed.
Oh, I am.
If you want to get something that's a closer approximation to the truth, check out my Christopher Key interview. It's been making the rounds. We got up to, let me see now.
Right here you have Mia Grant and Ellie Steele.
Let me see the numbers now. Nearly 35K.
It's more than that.
Okay. And that's worth watching, not Candace. This Candace is horseshit. Just absolute ridiculous. There's more to it, but I find it very disturbing. I'm extremely upset. I've been very impressed with Candace heretofore. And now, I'm telling you, this is utterly unreliable. She claiming to fact check. Ridiculous. He wasn't shot at all, much less now she's going to claim shot twice. It's supposed to be a larger caliber and a smaller caliber. I mean, this.
No. Let's get some reference here. Jim was I believe the proper term, I could be getting this wrong, I probably am, an artillery officer at the United States Marine Corps recruiting depot in, I believe, the late 70s, early 60s, or late 60s, early 70s. He knows ammo. That was his job. I know the human body. This is impossible. The dermis is not that thick. What happens when you cut your finger with a really sharp knife in your kitchen? Chances are you're going to go to the hospital and get stitches. Okay.
This is unreal. Huh. I just had to get that off my chest. Meanwhile, we have.
Well, thank you for that, because you know what? I needed to hear that.
And that's worth watching, not can.
From the front, and the bullet did not exit, and at least a fragment of the bullet was recovered from his neck. And I'm going to tell you exactly.
At least a fragment. Like I said, what does at least a fragment? What does that mean? At least a fragment was covered from his neck. What does that mean? That there was at least a fragment, if not the whole thing, but we don't know because he was a man of steel and he had special skin and there was no exit wound.
Where it was recovered from. I have fact-checked this information from multiple.
Were you there? You know, this chick needs to get some hard labor in. This chick has never even done a load of wash, man. I'm telling you.
Sources now. I've actually been sitting on this for a little bit over a week.
Oh, you were
right around.
It's logically impossible, but people believe this. I'm going to pause this, and I'm going to come back and finish it. Well, maybe I'll just leave it as is. Okay, well, we'll continue with the part 2.